What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 75 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome.
And I'm here, I'm Dev.
What's up, Dev?
I'm tired.
I'm really tired, too, actually. It's been a hell of a week. Remember when I said I was going to try to, really grind out some Octopath Traveler 1?
Oh, yeah.
I played 30 minutes last week. I worked, so many stupid double shifts at work and just a bunch of dumb stuff. What's going on to Ty in the chat? Persona music never disappoints. It's literally Undertale, but thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Anyways, like I said, this is episode 75 of the Game Room Podcast, where each and every week we sit down and go over all of the news from last week, get you caught up and ready to go with in the next week of gaming. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, hang out with us here usually every Monday night around 8 p.m. Eastern. But for now, actually, before we get into the headlines, I wanted to share something. So, yesterday, for wrestling fans, was AEW All In. And if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you have to go watch Will Ospreay's entrance at All In yesterday. Because they partnered up with Ubisoft, and he had, Will Ospreay, huge Assassin's Creed fan, had this sick entrance. Like, his gear was Assassin's Creed. It was tying in with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Looked really cool. They had a video package where they had the voice of Ezio himself as Ezio.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, if you're an Ezio fan, you got to go check out this entrance. But not really a headline. I just wanted to share it. It was just one of the coolest things. I love when things that I love intersect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the best thing in the world. Like new AEW member Ricochet being an Eagles fan. Go Birds, Yesterday was
That's
great
cool.
because it was a great wrestling show, and then
A lot of little
here's
stuff.
some video game stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, this guy, he's an Eagles fan, so you get to enjoy him as a wrestler, and you get to enjoy his sports takes. Great, love it. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get into the headlines. Number one, our main topic of the show: everything that was announced at Gamescom, specifically Jeff Keighley's E3 in Germany. Dev, how did you feel overall about Opening Night Live?
Honestly, it was underwhelming. It was
Really? That's surprising, because
in total and all around. I usually give Jeff Keighley, because I always go in with my expectations low.
Yeah.
And
You didn't do that this time?
I think I was too hyped for it. But even with expectations low, it was
That's crazy to me, because
you like this.
not that I okay, I thought it was okay, but I think that this was better than the summer one.
You think so?
Which is funny, because you're really
actually
high usually on Jeff Keighley.
I actually
stuff.
enjoyed. I enjoyed the summer one more than this. If I'm going to be completely honest.
See, I'm the other way. I
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed this one more. But that being said, I do think it's a lot of smaller stuff that I liked. I don't think there's anything that really was crazy here. One more thing announcement. We're going to get into it, obviously, being Indiana Jones. We're going to talk about that. We'll get there. Let's kind of start off with the top of our bullet points for this. Borderlands 4 opened up the show. And look, Borderlands is a franchise that's been kind of slowing on me and wearing out on me as the years have gone on. Loved Borderlands 1, was super into it. As the games have gone on, I've lost interest more and more. To the point where I didn't even finish the last one. I think I bought it for you for Christmas and we just never finished it.
Yeah, we got to.
We went an hour in and just we stopped playing.
I do still want to play it.
But I don't know if it's between that and the movie announcement, but this was cold, no pulse. I was just okay, what's next?
I get it.
I did not care about this at all. Plus, it didn't help that it wasn't. It was just kind of
It was a little teaser.
It was a teaser,
Yeah.
which is weird because the game's coming out next year. They said. I don't know if I would do a teaser. I don't know, but anyway.
I'm still excited for it. I didn't like 3 as much as I liked 1 and 2, so hopefully this one's better.
Yeah. We also saw Dying Light: The Beast after its teaser ahead of Gamescom. We got a new look at the new Dying Light game called The Beast.
That was a cool trailer.
Yeah, it was very cool. The trailer showed some familiar first-person gameplay with lots of parkour and zombie murder. It's an entirely new game set in an open world rather than a spin-off. Jeff Keighley noted that it will be around 20 hours long, making it a bit shorter, but you know what? Honestly, at this point, give me 20-hour games. I want more 20 to 40-hour games.
So this isn't an add-on?
No, this is a standalone game.
Okay.
But they also don't call it a spin-off. To them, this is the next Dying Light game.
Okay.
It's a smaller experience.
Okay.
I've never really gone into Dying Light, but I thought it was a really nice trailer, though.
Yeah. It is a franchise I kind of wish I got into, and now it feels like there's so many other things I want to play, and I'm not interested in this franchise. But
yeah,
seems cool.
Next up, we saw Dune Awakening. Dune Awakening will release in early 2025. We got news alongside the deepest look we've seen on the game yet. Everything from including customization, character classes, base building, and more. Crafting is a big part of the game as players use replicators to create objects and sell blueprints to other players. Saw a lot of exploration on Arrakis as players can pilot an ornithopter to different settlements full of factions and other players. Of course, there was a glimpse at some intense battles over spice. As someone who just has not gotten into Dune as a franchise, and I know it really blew up with the second one, like I know, I'm aware of the buzz. This is just something that I don't have any interest in, strictly because I don't really care about the IP.
I get it. It's a fun movie. I don't know if it's going to translate well to a game, but this game does look okay. Looks alright.
Yeah, it looks like it has
I think it'll do
for
okay.
Sure, yeah. Next up, we saw Monster Hunter Wilds got an exciting trailer. Again, this is something that just Monster Hunter Wilds isn't really something that interests me. I've never been into Monster Hunter. I don't know if it looks good in comparison to what fans are expecting, so I don't really have much to say on it. Do you have anything to say?
No.
Okay, just making sure. Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves is coming next April. SNK jumped into what's sure to be a crowded 2025 with its official release date for Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. This was the weird thing about kind of like playing nice with like Street Fighter, where it's like when they showed Terry, I was like, oh, is this more Street Fighter? Because Terry's in Street Fighter now, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I guess it's like not good for SNK because it's like I'm sitting here watching this whole trailer like, oh, this is like some Street Fighter add-on. Like they're adding characters from Fatal Fury, and then it was like, nope, it's a Fatal Fury game. I was like, oh. I think that Street Fighter collab backfired a little bit, but that's just me. After that, we saw Civ 7. Civilization 7 is coming in February. There was a vague teaser this past June, but we got more details. Look at its new art style, which was showcased in glimpses at various world locations. More importantly, though, it will launch on February 11th, making it one of 2025's first big game releases. Firaxis will even show more gameplay during its own Twitch stream, which I think has already happened after the posting of this article. Civ 7, obviously, a staple of the genre.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it would be a U game too. Like.
Yeah, I think I played the one that came to like the 360 back in the day. Like obviously playing a strategy game like that
on a console
is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So maybe someday I'll kind of dive back into it, but right now, like especially with my Game Pass subscription, like I would rather just play the other Age of Empires games and stuff that I haven't played.
I also feel like this is a game where you can jump into 7 and not feel like you're missing out.
Probably.
Yeah.
But like also, I really want to play Aura.
Aura, yeah, that's
like that comes out in September, and it's like that looks like basically like what I imagine Civ is, but maybe even a little bit more in depth. So I don't know. I have to see. Ty says Monster Hunter could be 30 FPS. Yeah, the game will still sell, of course, but what the fuck is with this gen? So shit, he says. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit later with Avowed, but yeah, I mean, like, it's just what this generation of gaming is.
I did think this generation, or at least now in this generation, we would get games that are both
you would think
60 frames and 4K, and just like that would be the natural.
It's baffling, to be completely honest. But again, we will talk about that later on in the show. Next up, there was Starfield news. We got the trailer for the Rev 8, which I kind of appreciated that it was like kind of done in the style of like a car commercial, like a real life car commercial.
Yeah, it was a great trailer.
I think that this is like a really big update for them. One of the biggest gripes that a lot of people have is how long it takes to traverse some of the planets. So I thought that this was really cool. I have not dived back in yet, but
are you going to dive back in with this update? Or I guess with Shattered Space.
Well, like I said, I still have the plan to go back to Starfield, and like I have to restart my next New Game Plus, and the next New Game Plus is going to be like me playing Starfield again.
Okay.
And like that's the world I'm going to go, and the game file I'm going to use.
But you're going to wait
to
for
do
Shattered
all the
Space.
Expansions. Yeah. So like I mean like if it lines up, maybe. But
okay.
But the thing about that is, so after the Rev 8, we thought that was going to be it, but then they do a quick little like boom, like hey, by the way, also Shattered Space release date of September 30th. So if I am going to jump into Starfield, it's got to be soon.
Yeah.
So I don't know when I will, but look, I loved Starfield last year. even if my plans for this year get a little derailed and maybe Starfield gets pushed to 2025 for me to like replay it, I love Starfield and I am so excited to get more Starfield.
I'm kind of glad that I haven't played it yet because when I get in, like all this stuff
honestly,
is going to be available.
If I were you, I would get into it once Shattered Space drops.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, because like all the big updates are out. Like you'll have the 60 frames update. You'll have the Rev 8. You'll have
I do
a
feel
lot
like
of the stuff.
this is going to be a game where updates are just going to be the natural form of this.
Well, that's
game
what I'm saying.
years.
But I'm saying if there was a time to jump in, I think Shattered Space release date around then would be the time to do it. But like I said, I absolutely loved it. I'm really excited to get back to Starfield. So for me, this is actually one of the more exciting announcements for me. It wasn't surprising, but like, it's just something I'm very excited for. Next up, we got Masters of Albion, which is Peter Molyneux's new game.
Such a weird.
It's such a Peter Molyneux thing. So obviously, Peter Molyneux, creator of Fable, it was a big surprise. He came out on the stage and revealed his new game, Masters of Albion, and it's like I said, it's such a Peter Molyneux-ass game because it's like, hey, you can just do whatever in this game. It's like, hey, you want to go and down into the fucking thing, grab the dude and throw him at the wall?
Yeah.
You could do that. It's like, why would you do that? It's like, well, just because you can.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to change the bread that we feed the people? You want to take their cheese off of their sandwiches?
I wonder if, like, first of all, how do we even get the rights to use
So there was some reasoning behind this. Real quick in the chat first, though, because Ty's talking about Starfield. Ty's been playing Starfield a lot lately. It's gotten better for sure and more interesting with the updates. He says he wants to go get all the special abilities before Shattered Space. That would be a really good idea. I would recommend that. But so anyway, so he said that Albion, he's able to use it apparently because like that's just another name for England.
Okay.
It's kind of like how like if you were to write a story in America,
I could write a game called The Brotherly Love. You know.
Yeah, you could make a game that's based in Philadelphia. It's just like it's or like The Brotherly Love. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so he basically said that Albion is another name basically for England, so that's why he's able to use it. It is really weird. You would think Xbox would kind of like be like, hey, like you're making this game in the Fable universe, like you want to put the Fable name on it? Or like maybe they just don't believe in the project. I mean, it is a very weird project.
It also could be like it seems like he wants to do his own thing.
But also to be fair, hot take maybe, I don't know. I don't think this game looks very good. You know what this game looks like to me? What? This looks like when you're like scrolling on Twitter or on YouTube and it's like an ad for a mobile game.
Yeah.
And it's like this crazy animation that's like there's no way the mobile game actually plays like this.
Yeah.
Like that's what
this looks real though. This looks like actual gameplay.
I'm sure it is, but it just doesn't like I don't know. In my
one
opinion,
thing I will say,
I don't think it looks very good.
One thing I will say is, and this is something that I've been a little bit worried about with the new Fable franchise, is this feels very Fable. Like the comedy in it, like the way I don't know that feeling of it feels very faithful to the Fable franchise. I don't think I'll ever play this if I'm being honest, but it still looks okay.
Yeah. Let's do a quick little brief the other stuff before we talk about Indiana Jones because the next one is Indiana Jones. But so here's just a little glimpse at everything else we saw. We saw some new footage for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 in a mission called Most Wanted. I think that this looks like one of the better Call of Duties they've put out in recent years. It's really lucky for Xbox because I really do think that Black Ops 6 is going to be kind of remembered as one of the better ones. Probably in the last decade, to be completely honest with you.
I agree with that.
I think it looks really good. It's coming to Game Pass. I can't wait to play it. I want to get like you online a little bit.
Did they reveal the multiplayer? Was the multiplayer trailer shown here?
So I don't have it in the no. So the multiplayer trailer
was that shown later on.
So Call of Duty Next is this week, and Call of Duty Next is like the big Call of Duty reveal. Like we've seen some campaign stuff. We've seen little bits and pieces of multiplayer. What you're going to see this week, which we'll talk about next week, is going to be like a bunch of multiplayer, Warzone, zombies.
Have you seen the multiplayer trailer?
I didn't get to watch it today because I was working a double, but
it looks really good. Like,
oh, you watched it?
I watch. I mean, I don't pay for YouTube Premium, so I saw the ad, and 16 new maps and like a lot of cool things in it. You should watch it. We'll watch it probably after this. We're done.
Yeah.
But no, it looks really good. Like. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm very excited for Black Ops 6. If they can get Warzone together, which admittedly I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to fix Warzone at least the way I want it to be.
No,
but at the very least, I'm very excited for the main.
They should do Blackout. They should just.
That's what I've been saying
me
for
personally,
years.
I think you should have two.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what
I don't know.
That's what I've been saying. No one listens. Ty says Peter is correct. However, if he keeps talking about his connections to Fable, they could hit him with a cease and desist. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't think they will either.
Ty says Xbox shut down the COD mod because they didn't want it messing with Black Ops sales. They won't let Peter potentially hurt Fable brand with his shenanigans. I don't know.
I don't think they can. It's like he created.
Yeah, he created
yes.
I don't know.
He can say that as many times as he wants.
Yeah. We also saw Goat Simulator Remastered, which I
love that trailer.
I have to give it like the nod of like the best trailer for the worst game I've ever seen. I've always been really down on Goat Simulator. Like I've never I have a sense of humor, but I've just never gotten the appeal.
That proves my point. You don't like the goofy.
And
you don't like these goofy games. Like
I do like goofy games, but it's just like I don't know. The trailer was hilarious. I'm like. At first, I'm like, what is this remaster? Like, it has to be something crazy. And it's such a good trailer.
Yeah.
And then it ends up just being Goat Simulator, and I was like, oh, man.
But that opening scene of, like,
cool?
Walking through the halls and, like, just seeing the remastered versions or, like, games locked up, and they're all bad. I think that's great.
I mean, yeah. It's a great trailer. I think it's coming to Game Pass. Maybe I'll play it on Game Pass. I don't know. Persona 5's Joker is going to appear in Persona 3 Reload the Answer DLC. Black Myth Wukong got a launch trailer. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero for a new trailer that revealed its pre-order bonus. King of Meat is a new co-op game from Amazon with a fantasy game show theme. Seemed kind of interesting. Linked Banner of the Spark is a debut game from FuzzyBot, and it's a cozy action game. This game didn't really speak to me at all.
Which one, Linked?
Linked, yeah. I was looking, I was like, it just didn't do anything for me. But a game that I am really excited for, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, is going to launch in 2 parts on February 18th and March 18th of next year. It's from the creators, some of the creators of Life is Strange.
Lost Records. Okay, I remember that game.
Yeah,
that's a game.
Not mixtape. Not the one with the music.
I'm thinking of mixtape. I don't
No,
see...
Lost Records is a different game.
Okay.
It's crazy how the team of Life is Strange. Some of them are making Life is Strange. Some of them are making this. It's just,
Lost Records. That's the one. Like I think it's like the 4 girls.
It's kind of. It looks like it's gonna kind of go the route of like It. That's what the vibe is. It's just like it's all these kids who had something crazy happen to them, and then like years later they're like, "Whoa, you remember this? Well, I got a package." And
isn't one of them one of the characters from Life is Strange? Like, is it one of the girls or no? I might be thinking of something else.
No, I think you're thinking that the new Life is Strange has Max, who's the original character.
Yeah.
No More Room in Hell 2 got a zombie-filled trailer. I think it looks like a really cool game. I don't know if I would like to get 8 people together to play it. It looks really good. Arc Raiders got a new cinematic trailer, revealing that it's not a premium game. Infinity Nikki got a new trailer with lots of singing. This game continues, this game looks so good, but I'm like, there's no way I'd enjoy this game.
Which one, Infinity Nikki?
Yeah, remember we've seen it before, where it's like it just looks like a really good open world action adventure game, and it's like which is such a me game. Like I love the action adventure genre, and like it even touts itself as an adventure genre. But then I'm like, I don't know if I would like the hook of this gameplay. Like I'm so torn on this game.
Can't find it, but
okay,
that's alright.
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 got a new trailer. Free multiplayer MOBA Predecessor got a trailer. Path of Exile 2 is coming to early access on November 15th.
I think that's a very highly anticipated game. Yeah. I think the first Path of Exile came out like 15 plus years ago.
Reanimal is a creepy new game from the developers of Little Nightmares. That was horrific. It had like this giant pig thing.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, great.
It looked like a Little Nightmares game too.
Yeah. Next up, an announcement that honestly surprised me. So they get to the Genshin Impact point of the Jeff Keighley show, and then they end that trailer with, hey, it's coming to Xbox on November 20th.
About time.
I think that... So I want to ask you this question. Is it too little too late for Xbox to be getting Genshin Impact?
The only reason I'm going to say no is because I think there are people out there who still want to play the game and have Xbox, even though the game is on everything. It's on mobile, it's on PC, it's on everything except Xbox. So I don't think it's too little too late.
Okay.
Although Microsoft had the opportunity to buy them. I think the developers went to Microsoft first, and Microsoft didn't buy them, and that was like such a huge hit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'll probably play it. I'm looking forward to it, but
it is very MMO-y though.
I'm just worried that it's coming too late. I think the buzz on the game, maybe it died down, maybe it didn't, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, yeah, you should have it, so yeah, okay. Is it too little too late? Maybe, but at least you have it. Tomb Raider's getting a crossover for Nakara Blade Point. Mecha Break got a new trailer. That game looks really good. Monument Valley 3 is coming on December 10th via Netflix. And so, did you ever play Monument Valley 3? I meant to ask you this question.
I might have. I played one of the Monument...
Or the first two, I mean.
I played one of them on the phone. I think I actually paid for it. It was like on sale for like $1. And they were really fun games. They're like puzzle platformers.
Because like, Jeff said something to me that was like...
But you never heard of it? Or?
Well, he was like, I know that we all grew up playing this game. And I'm like, oh, this must be... this is exciting. And it's like Monument Valley 3. And I'm like, I've never heard of this game before.
Oh, yeah. No, I've definitely... Probably in high school, I played like... Or right out of high school, I played one of the games.
Okay, because he was like, this is a game that everybody played like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever, 10 years ago, whatever it's been. And, like,
No. I don't think it's one of those.
I was like, I don't even know what this is. Okay, great. Marvel Rivals drops on December 6th. They kind of won me with the cap.
Yeah, the cap and the...
I was just like, I don't want to play a hero shooter. It's not my cup of tea at all. But you're giving me the opportunity to play as Captain America. Yeah. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to turn it down.
They both look like they play really well, too.
It does. You know, it's not really hard to make a hero shooter. You just make it with enticing gameplay and good characters and free to play. You got to go for it. Nobody would be stupid enough to do a premium release for a hero shooter, right? In 2024, right?
Because one of the things we talked about, just real quick, is we always say, like, oh, there's fatigue for these hero shooters.
Yeah.
And I'm almost thinking it's the opposite, where people want these new games because all they have like is Overwatch and Valorant and like it's like 3 or 4 big ones, so people are feeding for more.
Right.
And Marvel Heroes is pretty cool because it's part of an IP that's bigger than what it is, and it's free to play. Like,
yeah, well, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, so maybe I'll be jumping in on December 6th. Secret Level is a new anthology series coming to Amazon Prime in December. Now, Deborah, so this is a rare where like this I allow. Or, like, not that I allow, but this is, like, we've talked in the past how I'm like, hey, it's a game showcase. I don't want to see shows and movies. This is a one time where, like, I think it gets a pass because of the nature of the project.
Okay, this is another... You don't have Netflix right now, right?
No.
If you end up getting it just to watch this show, also watch Love, Death, and Robots, because it's the same creator from that. Mm-hmm. Love, Death, and Robots is like this show, but it's not video game related. But it's just an amazing show. And I'm so excited for it. This is a version of that, just in the video game universe.
Yeah, but it's just cool because there's just so many different games that are going to be featured. Yeah. I know Mega Man's featured. Kratos was in the trailer. Like, yeah. I just think it looks like a really awesome show, and I'll probably going to be checking it out because I do have Amazon Prime when it comes out on December 10th.
Oh, I forgot. This isn't coming to Netflix. It's Amazon Prime.
No. Age of Mythology Retold got a new trailer ahead of its launch on September 4th. Towerborn hits early access on September 10th. Now, Devereaux, this is something I wanted to bring up. It kind of ties in along with the Indiana Jones stuff, but we could talk about it briefly here. So, Towerborn is a game that Xbox has been really plugging like as one of their games under their publishing studio.
This is mind-baffling to me.
It's launching first on Steam.
Yeah.
In early access.
Yeah,
Xbox has an early access program.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't... Again, these could be things that are like deals made in the past that they're sticking with. Microsoft has been really well with sticking with previous plans, and like this game has been in development for a while. It's just, I don't know.
Look, here's the thing. So like as the news about Towerborn came down, like where it's like, oh, it's a free to play, it's not really a premium title. Like I've been losing interest in Towerborn. Like, I would say that Towerborn is not even something that it's really on my radar right now. If I end up playing it, it's going to be like, oh, I like on a whim. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't know how Xbox can just continue to keep doing this. Where it's just like, I understand they're going to keep making money despite themselves. But, like, we're going to talk more about it when we get to Indiana Jones, so I don't want to, like, be too repetitive and too redundant. So I'll just say, like, I don't understand how you let this game be a major talking point for you for, like, 2 years. 2 years, and then you're just like, oh, well, it's launching first on Steam.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a smack in the face to your console audience. And, like, I don't care if it's a shrinking audience. I don't care if it's something that, like, hey, the game's still coming to Xbox, which I do think that's Xbox's mindset, is that, like, hey, it's coming to Xbox regardless, so, like, get over it. Like, you're going to play the game. It doesn't matter.
And I guess it's still early access, so, like, you know, I assume the official release would have to be at least day and date on.
I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. It's just, like, it's just such a slap in the face
to
the core audience.
I keep saying this before. Everything that they're doing, every step that I see them take is they're becoming publishers. They're
Yeah,
becoming a publishing studio.
Again, I don't want to be too redundant, so we will talk more about this when we wrap this up. Delta Force Hawk Ops got a new trailer. It looked pretty good, actually. I thought. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 got a trailer. I still got to play the first game. It's in my backlog. We saw a new area coming to Zenless Zone Zero. We got a new Honkai Star Rail animation teasing a Fate Stay Night crossover. Batman Arkham Shadow got a new gameplay trailer in October release window.
That's one of those games that's a must play for me. Like, I missed the Arkham series, and it's in VR. I watched them glide, and I'm like, yep, I'm gonna be sick, but I'm gonna play this game.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to play it too.
The idea of like being in a Raptors and like above people and taking them out. Yeah, I think that's really fun.
That sounds like a dev ass game to me.
Yeah, but I'm probably gonna be throwing up after each play.
We got a new trailer for Little Nightmares 3. Herdling is a new game from the creators of Far Changing Tides. Netflix's Squid Game Unleashed got a trailer. Unknown 9 Awakening got a launch date of October 18th. I'm excited for that game.
I think quick, Netflix is like slowly becoming big in the gaming industry.
To break into it.
Yeah, when I watch Netflix on my laptop, as you're scrolling through like shows and TVs, they'll have like a line of games you can just play right there. And I tried a few, and I don't know.
Shooter Arena Breakout got a release date, or we'll get to a release later this year. Overwatch 2 is getting a World of Warcraft crossover. Diablo 4's Vessel of... So actually, I want to stop. So they talk about Overwatch 2. They bring out Blizzard. And again, this is just something where it's like kind of deflating. Where it was like, oh, we're bringing out the head of Blizzard. And I'm like, oh man, maybe they're going to have like some sort of cool announcement for like Xbox fans. Like, it'll come everywhere because it's Blizzard. But like, maybe they're going to do something. You know what I mean? Like the WoW update's coming out. It comes out today, actually. Like, all this stuff. And they're like, we have like the Warcraft 25th anniversary. And I'm like, oh, are you gonna like put Warcraft on like PC Game Pass?
That's what I was assuming,
right, or something like that.
Yeah.
And like it was just like, no, we're doing skins with Overwatch, and I was just like so deflated. Like this Xbox partnership, like all of Xbox, like right now, as excited as I am for the games themselves, like it's just so deflated.
I will say I do think that's cool, but I don't know.
It was just like I thought they were going to be like Warcraft getting PC Game Pass releases. And I'm like, that's really cool. That's awesome for me. I would definitely play Warcraft. I played one of them back in the day. I forget which one. But like, and they're just like, no, we're not doing that right now.
Yeah.
So tired. I'm so tired. Next up, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred got a DLC trailer. Xbox's Ara History Untold got a new trailer as well. Dark and Darker Mobile got a violent cinematic trailer. Mafia: The Old Country was teased.
I think that was
out the stream.
That was like the last. Yeah, that was
like the one more thing, I guess. Well, it was the one more thing before. No, it happened after.
Yeah, it happened after. It was like the very last thing they showed.
I was so underwhelmed by Indiana Jones, I didn't even pay any mind to Mafia. Like, not the game itself, but just the audacity of what they did.
We knew it was happening too. That's the funny part.
But like, so the pre-show announcements, there was some really cool stuff on here. I'm not going to go through all of it.
There was some cool stuff on there.
Directive 8020 looks so fucking cool.
I wish I had it up here, but...
That looked great. AILA, a horror game, looked really good too. I will give Jeff Keighley this. This was the best Jeff Keighley showcase pre-show he's ever done. Because I was sitting here like, that was great. Sniper Elite Resistance looks cool, and it's coming to Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
I was like, that was like 3 things. I'm like, and then the rest of it I thought was pretty good too. I was like, this is a really good pre-show.
The pre-show was really good.
So let's close out with the last thing that was announced. So we saw Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I want to say that based off the merits of the game itself, it looks phenomenal. I'm so excited to play this game, regardless of where it's coming. Machine Games has done a fucking incredible job by the looks of it. I'm very excited. I'm going to be playing it December 9th when it launches on Xbox Game Pass. We got the release date for December 9th after the gameplay trailer. People were excited. Yeah, good. And then they're like, but wait. When they look at the screen, and these motherfuckers have the audacity. Like, the game's not even out on Xbox yet.
Yeah.
It's not even released yet. And I think that's what upsets people the most. right? Where it's like they're like it's coming to PS5 in spring 2025, and like the way that the announcement was made, I think they were expecting like more of an applause, and like I don't think the crowd really like got super excited for it. Like the live crowd was like the way it was kind of like hyped up, like. I thought that they were expecting like the crowd to be like, oh my god, it's coming to PlayStation, and like they just didn't read like there was like,
yeah,
cool, which again like I know it's gonna be a great game and like everyone should play it, but my problem with it is, and we're gonna get into more like because Phil actually does justify it. He gives his response to people being upset by it at least. My thing is that you are the biggest publisher in the world at this point, pretty much. I understand that putting your games everywhere is a strategy in the future. And I do really believe the rumors that the next Xbox is going to have Steam on it. And at that point, you'll probably be able to play PlayStation first-party games through Steam on your Xbox. Mm-hmm. I do understand, and I think that there is a rational thought process that this is the future of video games. Where, like, the platforms are going to put more of their games everywhere. You know, Concord fucking bombed on Steam and PlayStation. If you're a PlayStation, maybe it makes sense to put an Xbox version out and try to get as much sales.
Absolutely.
Like bring in as much money back as you can because the game's flopped everywhere else.
Absolutely.
But like, and maybe that's the future. Maybe 10, 15 years from now, we look back on this and we laugh about it. But like, I can't sit here on August 26, 2024 and justify just how much Xbox customers, specifically on the console end, are second-class citizens in their own home. Because time after time, really since they bought Activision, I don't think that there's been a move that has been positive for the Xbox players outside of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 coming to Game Pass. And like some people may argue like that's a big deal. And I get that. At the end of the day, no matter how much I play it, it's one game that's still going to be everywhere else on the same day. It's really just saving some money. And not even really, because I'm going to remain subscribed to Game Pass in perpetuity. So, I mean, like, it's just like, all right. I'm not someone who's going to play Call of Duty for 2 months and then turn it off and save $30. Like, I'm going to continue to sink money into Game Pass because I do like the service and I believe in it. My problem just kind of lies with, like, if Indiana Jones was coming to PlayStation, I can accept that and I can understand that and it's a business and all that. I totally get all the rational justification. You couldn't fucking wait until the game launched. You had to announce it at right here and now. Like, the Game Awards is after December 9th. You could have announced it coming to PlayStation at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, like...
Maybe it's a hype thing. They're trying to build hype for the PlayStation community.
But, like, is that really, like, announcing it here at Gamescom, is that really, like, way more hype than... I would argue that it's more hype to announce it at the Game Awards.
I agree with that.
Like, and I can't think of a justified thought process where it's like, just let the Xbox console core be excited about this. And like it's not just about like console wars. Anyone who tries to shake it off and just be like it's strictly console wars that affect it, no, it's not, because as someone in the Xbox ecosystem, you buy in, you know, it's the same reason like you buy a Nintendo system, you expect like Mario to be that exclusive killer app. And I think that even in an age where all of the game consoles probably put their games everywhere, I do think that like PlayStation should hold on to one or two of their top franchises to remain exclusive. I do think Xbox should do the same thing. I think Nintendo, when they eventually... I don't know if Nintendo will ever do it. I actually
Who knows what they'll do?
Who knows? They might just close down before they do that. They'll be like, Nintendo, you should put your games everywhere else. It's like, we're announcing today
we have
Nintendo
a museum.
is closing.
Yeah, we're focusing on our museum.
Yeah, we're focusing on the museum. We're transitioning to a museum company. Yeah. There'll be museums in every city across America and the rest of the world. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I just think that the only people that this announcement affected, honestly, is the Xbox core fan base, and it just continues for them to feel like second class citizens. It's like, okay, well, you'll get Indiana Jones first, you'll get it first, you'll play it in its launch state. They'll iron out the bugs for the PlayStation fan base. The first DLC will probably launch when the PlayStation version launches. You guys will get on PlayStation will get the premium experience, and it's just like, what do you say to that? If someone says like, what's the point of owning an Xbox right now? Like, look, I am an Xbox. Like, I love Xbox. I'm a dedicated fan. I will continue to ride out. I'm going down with the ship. I'm going down with the ship. I've spent too much time and money to abandon the Xbox ecosystem. Plus, they're still bringing games to the platform for now that I love. Mm-hmm. If someone were to ask me right now, why should I buy an Xbox in 2024? I can't give them a good answer. I don't have one. I don't have a good answer for them.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Game Pass. But, like, you can play it on PC. You can play Game Pass on PC. So, like, why would you buy an Xbox? And, like, it's always been, like, I get it. Like, I see the vision for them. It's entry points, right? Like, they just want to get people playing their games. And they just want to get people into their ecosystem. And you could do that with PC. You could do it with cloud. You could do it with console. And I get it. I really understand all of that. But I think at the end of the day, that console audience, that core console audience, is the audience that has supported you through the darkest times, through the Red Rings of Death, through the Xbox One era, where there were no games for years and years on end. Like, I just think it's extremely short-sighted to not at least bring your core audience along for the ride. It just feels like you're putting the core audience in the backseat.
Not even so much, I won't even say, like, the core audience, the console audience is what they're... Okay, yeah, I get it. It's the same thing, but it does feel like Game Pass has surpassed... Game Pass is higher up on the list of priorities than the console audience. And in a way, like, again, like, we're both agreeing that I guess it makes sense. I guess it feels sad to, like...
I just worry about what the game industry is going to look like. I mean, who knows? Maybe I made that prediction earlier about, like, maybe it won't matter in 10 years, but maybe it does matter.
I think it's because, like, you'll still have those separations because software does matter more than hardware. Software is king. That's
yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's going to be the future. Everyone's moving to that.
Yeah.
Hardware is. I mean, if you can play Game Pass right now on a Fire Stick.
Well, I mean, again, I push back that I don't think streaming is where I want it to be.
Yeah,
where
I get it, but it's getting there. It's getting more and more. It's getting closer and closer every day.
I still think that there will always be the alternative to have something locally.
I agree.
I think they'll always offer it. I do think that.
No,
maybe not console, but like at the very least PC. I don't see them just completely being like, we're going streaming only. Like, I don't see that ever
But
happening.
I think a lot of the casual people aren't going to buy a console. What point, like you're saying, what point is there to drop $500-$600 on this box when I can do the same thing off of something, $20-$30?
That's not my job to answer that question. It's Microsoft's job. It's Xbox's job.
But I think they have answered it. It's not that important anymore.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So it's just like, all right, well, it is what it is. So Phil Spencer actually, when Xbox opened up day one of their Gamescom stream, the day after opening night live, obviously they knew that people were going to be upset. And Phil Spencer was on the show. On Tuesday, Indiana Jones was announced that it was coming to PlayStation in spring 2025. During an Xbox podcast in February, that's just kind of redundant information. So, going to PlayStation, Phil Spencer says, obviously last spring we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we were going to learn, he said. I think the showcase, I might have said that from our learning, we're going to do more. What I see when I look at is that our franchises are getting stronger. Phil Spencer claims our Xbox console players this year are as high as they've ever been. So Phil is saying that more people are playing on Xbox consoles right now than ever before.
Okay.
Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been, and we have to run a business. He added, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft that the bar is high for us in terms of delivery, that we have to give back to the company. Because we get a level of support from them that is just amazing in terms of what we're able to do. So I look at this. How can we make our games as strong as possible, ensure our platform continues to grow both on console and PC and cloud, and I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. In concluding, Spencer mentioned the pressure facing the games industry, which has seen thousands of job losses over the last 18 months, including many inside Xbox, and claimed the traditional ways of distributing games would continue to change. He says that the last thing I'll say is I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for more ways to grow. I think for us as fans and players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the more traditional ways that the games were built and distributed, that's going to change for all of us. But the end result needs to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, we're focused on the wrong things. So,
He's not wrong. It's one of those things. I get it. I get the frustration, but
yeah,
he's right.
I get it. But like my thing is, he's leaning on this claim that like there's more Xbox console users now than ever. It's like, yeah, well, you're just now making these changes, so like I could understand that. Like, what's going to happen for the next console? Like, again, it's not a priority for them, and that's just something that we have to see how it plays out. But like that's not super. That's for me, that was kind of corporate jargon where it's just like, hey, we have more people playing on Xbox consoles right now than ever. It's like, yeah, you may have that. But when people start realizing, hey, like I can just play all my games somewhere else, like maybe they don't return to your console. So I don't know. It is what it is, I suppose. In other news, Indiana Jones is targeting an April 2025 release for its PlayStation 5, according to a recent report by The Verge. Tom Warren sources claim that Bethesda has been targeting April 2025 for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on PS5. However, the window might change depending on how development goes. Could you imagine if like the Xbox version gets delayed? And it's like hey, we're delaying to like March 2025. And it's like a 30-day exclusivity. Could you fucking imagine how terrible that would be?
That would actually be kind of funny.
It would be funny, but like in a sad, yeah, exactly. So that's Gamescom. Overall, I thought it was actually a decent show in terms of little announcements that all kind of piled up to make it an enjoyable show. I am going to shake my head at Xbox, but I mean that's not really. I guess it's Jeff Keighley's show, so like he let it go on. But like I don't know. The one thing I didn't like about it was that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I blame Jeff? Yeah, why not? I'm really good at blaming people named Jeff for things. It's kind of what I do. It's my thing. Let's move on to number 2 in the headlines. We have a review roundup for Star Wars Outlaws, which comes out later this week. It's been quite a while since Ubisoft first announced the new Star Wars game was coming from the Division developer Massive Entertainment. I forgot, this is the developer that you like. This is the guys that made the Division.
Yeah.
But now the title, revealed to be Star Wars Outlaws, is just a few days away from its scheduled August 30th release date. The open-world adventure is expected to be one of 2024's biggest games, and ahead of its launch, its review embargo officially lifted today. And critical evaluations of the experience are now live. According to Metacritic, Star Wars Outlaws has a average generally favorable score, of 77 out of 100 on Xbox, PS5, and PC systems. I think the PS5 one actually is a little bit higher, but that was this morning when I saw it. Mm-hmm. Most reviews are positive, with scores in the ranges of 75 to 85, and roughly a fifth of them convey more mixed feelings. Here are just some scores. So Gamers Heroes gave it a 95 out of 100. They said Massive Entertainment created breathtaking environments across the galaxy, delivered a fast-paced combat system true to the Scoundrel style, and crafted a story that rivals the modern movies. Star Wars Outlaws is, simply put, the Star Wars game of a generation. That's cool. A great review. Some other ones, Tech Radar gave it an 80 out of 100. Star Wars Outlaws serves up an extremely enjoyable open-world Star Wars experience that proves the wait for such game was worth it. While there are a few frustrations, the mix of beautiful worlds, a crime-rich underworld, compelling intense missions with multiple routes to success, a strong cast, and a fun narrative to boot make it superbly fun experience. Again, I think it's another good one. Game Informer, I'm sorry, Jesus Christ. R.I.P. Game Informer. The Gamer gave it 70 out of 100. But IGN was actually the one I was going to read next. IGN gave it a 70 out of 100. Star Wars Outlaws is a fun intergalactic heist adventure with great exploration, but it's hindered by simple stealth, repetitive combat, and a few too many bugs at launch. Eurogamer gave it a 40 out of 100. Star Wars Outlaws, by comparison, feels like it's blagging, much as K can, when regularly caught out by some far more worldly syndicate boss. The result is a series of quite painful comparisons. It lacks the branching open stealth of an Arkham game, the systemic options of a Dishonored, or the incisive, relentlessly satisfying speed of picking enemies off in Assassin's Creed. It lacks the linear polish and charisma of Uncharted, lacks the animation flow to its yellow ledge platforming next to a horizon, or the sheer joy of taking platforming and making it into an actual game in itself, as in Star Wars Jedi games.
I'm gonna, like, that one's a little rough. That's a rough, only because looking at the gameplay that we saw already, like, not just now.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to have any of that stuff. It felt like, I mean, more so the Assassin's Creed.
Right.
It felt like more of the Assassin's Creed route, but with guns and, like, you know what I mean? I wasn't expecting it to be like any of those games. That's a really rough
Yeah. Ty says, I think the new Star Wars game seems good if you like Star Wars and want an open world game. However, I don't think I'll be buying it for €80. I will subscribe on Ubisoft Plus.
He has
Premium.
a point, because I was wondering if the people who are reviewing it and giving it like closer to 80s and like 88s, 85s, I wonder if those reviewers enjoy the Star Wars universe more than the people who
That would be a really nice thing to
like
know.
you would rate it higher than Forrest would rate it. You know what I
Possibly,
mean? Because you're more into the Star Wars universe and
Right.
like
So takes on the game's story and writing as well as combat and stealth systems are vary quite a bit, though there are two aspects of the title that most reviewers agree on. The first, that Star Wars Outlaws open world zones are gorgeous and a joy to explore, and are full of exciting secrets for attentive players to discover as they journey across the galaxy far, far away. Not trying to spoil anything, but I had something spoiled for me. If you go to Tatooine, you can find Luke's house.
oh, that's cool.
So I am going to try to find that.
Yeah.
It is really cool. The second is that it has some significant issues with performance and stability on PC specifically, as well as a laundry list of game-related bugs that intrude on and detract from the adventure. Now, it's not included in this roundup, but game kind of funny. Greg Miller gave it a 4 out of 10, and he basically said, I didn't get to watch the whole show that he did on it, but he said it was like soulless, very meh. So there are some ranging thoughts here. For me personally, I'm still going to be picking this up.
Mm-hmm. I do feel like
because I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I think
I
that's...
love a good open world game.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the open world has stuff to do in it, I'm generally like pretty happy with it. I'm excited for this. I'm still going to be picking it up on Friday. Something I wanted to bring up though, and I think Ty's going to have an opinion on this. In fact, I already know what I think Ty's going to feel about it. But so some game journalists today did point out that, so this is from Jason Schreier.
Mm-hmm.
He says review codes for Star Wars Outlaws went out last Monday with the embargo for this morning. He says, gotta wonder how that impacted the reception. It boggles the mind that a company would spend 4+ years and God knows how many millions of dollars on a game only to give reviewers 6 days, technically. To not just beat the game, but make a review, make the content, and put out the review. Gene Park from the Washington Post also says, yes, Star Wars Outlaws codes came in hot, and we had to crunch for this. It was not fun to play Star Wars Outlaws this way, and it's risky to rush reviewers if you want them to have fun.
I was going to say that.
And then so Giovanni, he was responding to Giovanni Colanterio, who I actually don't know. He's a senior gaming editor for for Digital Trends. I guess he also looks like he might work with Polygon too. But so he said, another friendly PR note, a Monday embargo is a Friday deadline for any site with a healthy work-life balance, begging you to build extra days into your review timelines if it's a Monday embargo. So I mean, that's a great point. Like, let's say these people working there for this as a full-time job, whatever, they're getting it on Monday, and then they're playing it, and it's just like, and I actually like, I feel like I don't know if we're going to agree, but I know Ty and I are going to disagree, because I do actually agree with Jason Schreier here, where it's like, I don't really understand the thought process of only giving reviewers 5 days to review your game. We've talked about it before, about you say sometimes how I play games probably makes me enjoy them less, and I do think sometimes you might be right there.
You're forcing, like...
But it's like, hey, go, play, quick,
yeah,
finish,
it's
get
definitely,
to the end.
Yeah, it's definitely a hindrance, especially when you have to review the game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You have to write a whole essay afterwards, and you're rushing through this game. You don't get to enjoy it. There's no breather. That's going to make you resent the game in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, so that's basically what's going on with Star Wars Outlaws and the review situation with it. I would like to see them... I would give a reviewer 10 days. I would give them 2 weeks. I think that's a much more reasonable ask, where it's like...
And it reflects better on your game, I think so.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, I've done it before where I've tried to, like, rush through a game. Like, Witcher 3 was a game that, like, this was back when I was writing for a website previously in years past.
Yeah, how do you even rush through Witcher 3?
I rushed through Witcher 3.
That's like, you beat the game storyline-wise? Or
yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, like, it still took me, like, a long time because of how big of a game it is. But I was like, oh my god, another side quest? another main quest.
Yeah, that's rough.
I was like, I literally
You're just asking to hate the game.
I gotta get to the end. When is this game gonna end? I have to write this review.
Yeah.
Like
You're asking to hate
I missed
the
the
game.
deadline that the guy who run the website gave me. I was like, I'm sorry, it's a big game.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy Witcher 3 because of it. So it's like, I know, like, you can't rush people playing a game. Like,
yeah, that's
especially
rough.
when you want them to like put their thoughts and feelings into like a words or video or whatever. Like, it's just it's not very indicative. It's just, it's not a good idea. So yeah, Star Wars launches this Friday. I'm still desperately trying to get through Octopath, so I don't know if it's going to be played on Friday, but maybe I have something to talk about next week about it. We'll see what happens. Number 3 in the headlines. A lot of big headlines. Ty says, all valid points. Ubisoft clearly had reasons for doing this. The argument is the development team likely wanted more time to get the patch out as much as possible.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that, but then like let people know, hey, we're gonna push a patch out next week, but just play the. I don't know.
It also feels like if you know your game isn't that well,
I would push it back by 2 weeks. We've seen developers push a game release back by a couple weeks before. It's not like it's never been done, never heard of before.
but I also feel like giving such a short period for like embargo to be released.
Yeah.
Makes it feel like there's something you're hiding from your game. Just like for me
mentally, it's always
like
a bad look.
Yeah, it gives a bad look. Like why is this window so small? But
yeah, I agree with you on that actually. But yeah, let's move on. Number 3 in the headlines: Devereaux Concord came out last week. It was a hit, right?
it was great.
Right? The struggle of hero shooter continues. The hero shooter Concord continues. The game is officially out and no one seems to care about it. In the first few hours available worldwide, Concord didn't even pass 1,000 players on Steam. As of the writing of this article, less than 700 players are actively playing it. It's an online PvP title. This shouldn't be too surprising based on the poor open beta numbers when no one had to pay to access the game. Now you have to spend a full $40 to play. It's hard to see it becoming a hit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting over the weekend because a lot of people that I follow on Twitter, influencers and stuff like that, they were pointing out that like I think the Steam numbers must be broken. Like there's like everyone was like not believing it. Like there's no way that Concord can't even crack 700 players. But it didn't. It just
they're shooting themselves in the foot. I don't get it. It sucks. What sucks more about it is the people who have played it actually enjoy the game. That's the thing that kills. That's the thing that kills me. They play the game and they actually like it and they enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm sure
no one's ever gonna just jump in. Like any free to play shooter game, if you already play those games, you're gonna jump in and try it because it's free to play.
Yeah.
No one's gonna drop $40 on this.
No.
It's.
Baffling. I mean, we talk about the competition in the space. We talk about Marvel Rivals, how excited we are for it. Like this genre is just a genre that does not. You don't pay for these games.
Yeah.
They're freemium games.
I think I saw it on the headlines. We'll talk about it later on. Yeah. But like Deadlock is when Valve doesn't drop a game often, but when they do, they usually nail it. Deadlock's another hero shooter.
Yeah.
And like I think it's gonna do fine.
Yeah.
And it's just baffling.
Yeah, it makes no sense, and the game's gonna flounder. So I showed you this. I should have put it in the script. This one of these like again, the media just loves defending PlayStation to the death. It's what they do. And this one guy was like, "Hey, like it's number 511th best selling on Steam, but it's doing better on PlayStation. It's 43rd." And I'm like, "That's not good." A first party PlayStation game came out on their own platform, and it's 43rd.
I think Ty said something earlier in the chat about.
Oh, sorry, go
ahead. It took 8 years to make. It has less players than Redfall and Gollum.
Yeah.
It's a bigger flop than Redfall, and it was 8 years in the making. And that's rough.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm not even gonna read Ty's nonsense about reviewers. I wasn't even gonna give him the.
Look, Ty, if you force me to if you made a game and forced me to play that 30-hour game in how many days? and then I have to write a 5-day window, and I have to write a whole essay about it, I'm going to hate your game.
And maybe
I'm going to resent your game just a little bit, not even on purpose.
And maybe your job also requires you not only to write a review, but also like record lines for it.
Yeah,
so you have to read your review and do multiple takes.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and you want someone to talk lovely about your game afterwards. Like,
it doesn't work that way, bro. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a shame. But so Concord, number 43 on PlayStation's best-selling list. For some context, Helldivers 2, which came out in January, is number 33. So,
yeah. Do you think, and I think we talked about this before, that this game is going to just go free to play, like as a saving grace?
I think you have to. I mean, if you're even going to try, it's like, here's the thing: PlayStation finds itself. It's really interesting because we see Xbox at a crossroads. PlayStation's at a crossroads right now too, where it's like, what do you want to be? Because it's like you made this pivot to live service, and Helldivers did very well on Steam. I mean, it did good on PlayStation, but most of the players were on PC. And then you do Concord, and it did poorly on both PC and PlayStation. So, like, I think if you're PlayStation, you kind of need to ask yourself, like, do you want to continue down this games as a service route? Like, do you want to dive further into putting your games elsewhere? PC, maybe Xbox. If I'm PlayStation, I'm doing two things, and I'm announcing these things at the Game Awards. Number one, the game's going free to play. Number two, it's also coming to Xbox.
Okay.
Like, I'm just saying, like, at this point, if you're trying to recoup your losses and you want, like, if you really want to do this games as a service right, you need to be all in. And this is something I've always criticized PlayStation for. Like, yes, their first-party software is top tier. And, like, we can say that. PlayStation is so non-committal with their own projects that they constantly shoot themselves in the foot. Look at the handheld space, how the Vita, they bring the Vita out, and people love the Vita. Like, if you ever watch Kind of Funny, Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, they fucking love the Vita. There was a passionate audience for the Vita, and PlayStation was like, we're just going to stop making games for it. VR, same thing. Hey, look at this PSVR. It's like, okay, well, we can make it better. Let's make PSVR 2. All right, cool. When are the games coming out? You know, and actually, we're just going to make you buy a PC adapter, and we're just going to let PC players, you know, figure that out. They can play their Steam games or their meta games, whatever, on our platform. We're not going to support it. And, like, this is just what PlayStation does. PSN Plus. They saw Game Pass as a success. They're like, okay, well, I guess we'll do our own subscription model. And it's just like, and they didn't go all in. They didn't commit. I don't even need you to go all in. I just need to be there for there to be some commitment to it. And there hasn't been. And so, like, and this is why, for me, PlayStation in a lot of ways falls short on things outside of their first-party software output. Where it's just like, they just don't, it just seems like they don't care about any of these projects. And so now this is what we're seeing with the live service. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They're like, we want to do this games as a service because it seems like it brings in a lot of revenue, but they still want to sell it as a premium title that, like, it's just like, it doesn't work that way. And you can't play it everywhere. So it's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to be? Yeah. And I think that's something PlayStation needs to ask themselves, whether it be Herman Holst or like my guy Hiroki Totoki. Like, I don't know who there needs to make these decisions, but somebody needs to look at it and be like, this is what PlayStation will be.
Yeah.
And if they want to continue to do what they've been doing in the past because it's worked, do it. Like, just do it. But, like, just commit to it. Like, just have a vision and commit to it. And that's the one thing I can say, like, Nintendo does really well, is Nintendo has a vision and they fucking do it. They're like, we're doing this. We're Nintendo. We're the boss. We make the call.
Yeah.
And then Xbox was kind of the same way, but then they bought Activision and Microsoft was like, you're actually not the boss. We're the boss. So it's like, you just gotta, like, you gotta do something. So, like, I don't know. That's my thoughts on Concord. I think that PlayStation really put themselves into a bad spot here and they need to figure it out. Number 4 in the headlines, there's a double direct tomorrow from Nintendo. Nintendo has announced that tomorrow there will be an Indie World Showcase, followed by a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase.
I'm going to be honest, I love the, like, hey, tomorrow there's a Direct, like, from Nintendo. Nintendo's usually good with, like, you don't know until less than a week before.
Right. So...
It's exciting.
Nintendo's going to host a live stream of both presentations back-to-back, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. They said that both shows are going to run combined total of 40 minutes total, which I actually think is a little short.
That is very short, yeah.
For two showcases.
Yeah.
At this point, just why even make them different? Just be like, are they going to be like, all right, that's enough. See you later. And it's going to, like, fade to black and then, like, come back in like,
Yeah, right.
hello, welcome to our Nintendo Direct. Some things that are important to note, it is a partner showcase, so it is a third-party game. So You're not going to see any first-party games. Nintendo also said there will be no announcements about the Nintendo's successor, or the Switch successor.
Yeah.
So, like, look, ease the brakes. I don't think this is going to be a very good showcase. However, there is a rumor going around that there might be a Call of Duty-related announcement tomorrow.
Okay.
Which would be big for Nintendo. I don't think it's going to be Black Ops 6. It might be like maybe a port of Modern Warfare 2, or I don't know what it'll be.
Okay.
But it'll probably be something. It's a great catch. So we'll see. We'll be talking about it next week. Again, temper expectations. I don't think it'll be a whole lot, but, we'll see. Keeping the rumors going, PlayStation State of Play is likely coming in late September, according to Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb. The one Jeff I will not blame things on. Well, actually, it was Jeff Grubb who said the Zelda ports were coming all those years ago. So you could blame Jeff. We could blame Jeff Grubb.
I don't know. You say it too.
No,
You're just as guilty.
Not coming. They're not coming.
Oh, yeah.
They're not coming.
We forgot.
They're never coming out. The rumor came today, actually, during Jeff's Game Mess mornings, when after speaking on the PS5 Pro, he says, there is probably going to be a State of Play by the end of September. Unfortunately, Grubb didn't dive into what would be announced during the event. Both he and his co-host guest theorize it could be something akin to a PS5 Pro announcement, followed by a miniature game showcase on the new console. The PS5 Pro was reportedly heavily talked about at Gamescom this year, which Windows Central F Tech and the Italian website Multiplayer both hearing from developers that the console is on its way. Dev, do you think this is a weird way to roll out a console that's going to launch this year, where it's like they're going to announce it like really late in September. Via a State of Play? Be like, all right, buy your PS5 Pros in November.
I don't think it's some. It is very close. I don't think it's too weird because it's a mid-gen console.
And I would also follow up and say, like, do you think it's weird that it's not really coming out with any like killer app for it? Because we get Astrobot in September, but like that's not really a game that I think that for me like pushes the reason to get an upgraded console.
Yeah, there definitely should be, but because it's a mid-gen, I'm going to give them. Another thing I'll say is I don't think this is going to sell very well this year. I think people are strapped for money all the way around. Yeah. It's going to be hard.
Saving up for the Super Switch,
Yeah, Yeah, I think more people are going to want the Switch, and it's just any console that's going to come out is going to hurt in sales.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. We'll see.
At least until GTA comes out, then.
Right, and then everything ends.
Yeah.
Number 6, PlayStation and Death Stranding are going to be at Tokyo Game Show. In a new blog post, PlayStation revealed some of its plans for TGS, such as a Death Stranding 2 stage event, including booth titles, scheduling, and more. Sony confirmed that this year's booth will feature Astrobot and Monster Hunter Wilds, although the former launches in early September, so the game's going to be out before the showcase, but you'll be able to demo it there, I would assume. PlayStation's going to have a functioning gacha machine. So, I mean, if you get excited for that, that's what's going to be there.
People love gacha, I guess.
I guess so, especially in Japan, so look forward to that. Number 7 in the headlines, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Story DLC is confirmed. At the end of the same... So we got the trailer... saying that there's going to be the main game, the release date for December.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the same trailer, it's mentioned how certain editions of the game will apparently come packed with the Order of Giants story DLC. And the collector's edition comes with a globe with hidden storage, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if I'm getting it, but...
When does it come to PS5?
April.
Okay, cool.
All right. Next up in the headlines, number 8. Valve finally officially announced Deadlock weeks after footage started appearing online. The announcement follows weeks of discussion about the game and footage appearing across social media. The multiplayer title, which has been a friends and family closed beta for some time, now has an official store page on Steam. Deadlock is a 6v6 third-person hero shooter. Valve warns that the game is still in early development and the current build of Deadlock contains lots of temporary art and experimental gameplay. The game's store page features a brief trailer and one piece of concept art. Players can currently only gain access to the game if they're invited by someone currently involved in the playtest. Despite Valve's secrecy around the game, the discussion of the game on social media has increased in recent weeks. Hours of video from the game's closed test can be found across social media. There isn't currently a release date for Deadlock, nor has Valve provided minimum or recommended system requirements for the game on the Steam page. But, like you said earlier, it is a game that is coming, and people are excited for it.
Yeah. And I assume it's going to be free to play, and it's probably going to do very well.
That's a safe assumption. I mean, who would put out a hero shooter in 2024 that wasn't free to play? You know? I don't know.
What's Valve's big shooter?
Half-Life.
No, multiplayer one.
Oh, CSGO.
CSGO. No, is it? That's
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike, yeah.
Well, CSGO is Counter-Strike.
What's the one that's more cartoony? I can't think
Team Fortress.
Team Fortress, that's what I was thinking of.
Next up, number 9. We talked about this earlier. We're going to bring it up again now. Avowed is targeting 30 frames per second, says Obsidian's art director. Speaking on the Iron Lords podcast, art director Matt Hansen called 30 frames per second the bare minimum the team is aiming for. It's a first-person single-player game. Nice. It's a first-person single-player game. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames. And that allows us to get a lot juicier with VFX and lighting and all this other stuff, Hansen said. It's a trade-off we opted to make relatively early, and we're really happy with that. The game's running pretty smooth for how visually dense it is, and that was always our goal. I'm going to say it, well, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I don't care if a game is 30 frames per second. I really don't care. I know a lot of people, it upsets a lot of people. It upsets a lot of people that like really care about how powerful the Series X is, and the PC crowd. The PC crowd is who really, they go crazy about it, right?
They're the ones that spend the money for it, you know?
Yeah, and I get it. But like for me, I much more care about resolution. I want a game to look gorgeous. For me, honestly, I think 30 frames per second is a great, like it's the minimum. I don't want a game to go below 30. But like I think a 30 is a fine frame rate. As long as it doesn't go below that, like I think the game can be very enjoyable.
I don't think this is too big of a deal.
Yeah.
I will say though, when you switch to 60, you can feel it. You can feel it in your hands.
Yeah, I suppose.
I
don't know.
I like the smoother, like, I don't know. Things are cooler.
I don't know.
They know what they want. They want a more visual, heavy game. And
it looks gorgeous.
It does
Everything
look
we've
gorgeous.
seen between Gamescom and the Xbox Showcase, like I think this game looks really good.
It does look.
I'm very excited to play it.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with it. Number 10. Speaking of things that I'm really happy with, I don't know if you've played these games, but Backyard Sports is back. Devereaux, have you ever experienced the stress of facing Pablo Sanchez?
No.
You haven't lived then. Playground Productions has officially announced the return of the Backyard Sports franchise for the first time in a decade. The announcement came via a trailer after days of teases on social media. The first trailer, which you can see, I don't know if you're going to play it, if you're playing it or not, confirms the return of Backyard Baseball, which is one of the franchise's first titles. It's also the only one that I played, admittedly. It's expected that sports like football, basketball, and others will get the Backyard Sports treatment as well. We're incredibly excited to reintroduce Backyard Sports to a new generation of players, Chris Waters, Playground Productions Chief Product Officer, said via press release. There's a lot of P's there. We're taking great care to preserve the look and feel that made the original game so special while updating them with modern features and gameplay that today's audience expects. I can't wait for fans to see what we're building on the playground. I'm so excited for this. I played Backyard Baseball back in the day, and it was always so much fun to play on my PC. I remember I was a PC gamer back then. I was just like,
I know nothing about it,
games.
but
no, it was fun. It was really fun. I'm more so excited just because of the franchise itself coming back than I am than the actual game. But yeah, it was always a really fun game. See this guy right here? This fucker? This is Pablo Sanchez. He's the best athlete of all time. He's great at he's just the GOAT at every sport.
Is it the same kids in each game?
Yeah, it's all the same characters.
That's cool.
And like each kid has different stats.
Okay.
It's like playing like a regular sports game where like every player, like some players are better at some like acceleration, other players are better at their accuracy or like whatever. And like there's like a whole cast of characters. It doesn't say it here, but I could have sworn I read that they were considering like a series as well, like a video series. I hope they do it. So I'm very excited for that. Number 11 on the headlines. Part of the reason why Indiana Jones, I would assume, is going to PlayStation as soon as it is. Sea of Thieves has reportedly surpassed 1 million units sold on PlayStation 5. According to Windows Central, the Rare developed game hit a significant milestone recently. While Xbox hasn't announced the sales figures, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that the title, which is sold at $40, same price as Concord, has performed strongly since its late April release. Isn't that kind of sad that like this Xbox first party game selling for $40 is like just doing great, and like PlayStation puts out a game on their own platform for the same price, and it's just like,
yeah,
no thanks, I don't need this. But yeah, Sea of Thieves is a game that I want to play. I want us to play it really badly. I would love to get into that sometime soon. But so yeah, that's the numbers that it's doing. Good for them, I guess. Next up, we have some stuff from an Amazon game executive. He had some stuff to say. First up, he gave us an update on the next Tomb Raider game. He said it's really going well. Amazon Games boss Christoph Hartmann has reassured fans that the next game is progressing well despite recent turbulence at Crystal Dynamics' parent Embracer. Speaking to IGN in a new interview, Hartmann claimed that Crystal Dynamics has been fairly sheltered from the turbulence at Embracer, and said that development on the next Tomb Raider game was progressing. The studio, from what I can tell, is fairly sheltered from everything going on with Embracer, he said. I mean, it has to be, because Embracer never was one company. It was just an accumulation of an incredibly large amount of independent businesses. Not just games. They're like books and games and this and that.
Damn.
And they're always very sheltered.
I'm glad it's on the way. I still haven't played the third one. I want to play it. I love the franchise.
Yeah.
The 3 main games, but...
So he said it's coming. And then number 13 on the headlines, he says that he doesn't think AI is going to take away jobs.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
Because he says that people aren't really acting in video games anyway.
I don't know about that.
He says, so once again, this is Hartman speaking with IGN. He says, I mean, I gotta be careful. When you say that, let's just stop. If you ever open an answer with, I gotta be careful what I say.
It feels like people who say, like, I don't mean to be racist, but...
It's like, I'm not racist, but...
That's what it feels like.
Okay. Anyways, I gotta be careful. What is here, because we are a big company and have to deal with all these organizations. I don't really want to get in the middle of it, he replied. But when we talk about AI, first of all, hopefully it will help us have new gameplay ideas, which has nothing to do with taking work away from anyone. Fair enough, I guess. I mean, I think there's an argument there. But especially for games, we don't really have acting. The majority of the team sits in programming. That's not going to go away because that's all about innovation. If it takes something, it will really be the boring parts.
This gameplay is anxiety-inducing. I'm turning it. Just like...
Oh yeah! Wow!
Just like swim through a crevice underwater.
That's
and
just
like,
the Indiana. That's the Tomb Raider games.
Yeah.
So like, apparently we're trolls. Ty says we're trolling. I don't know how. This is Ty. No, this is a real article. What do you mean? So let me just say, this guy clearly no idea about video games. I don't know who they have this guy running Amazon Games not knowing about video games. No, there's no acting in video games. That is such an absurd statement.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just a bunch of dudes making programming. I don't understand what the problem is. It's like, you have exposed yourself as someone who has no idea about what goes into video games. Yes, programming obviously is important. It's vital. And like, yeah, that exists. But to act like there aren't people voice acting and even doing motion work. Like nowadays, a lot of games have motion capture acting. It's like, what an absurd, fucking ridiculous thing to say. It's like, it's just like one of the dumbest things I think I've ever, like, I don't even know if that's true. One of the dumbest things I've heard an executive say, but it's definitely the dumbest fucking thing I've heard an executive say this week. Ty's like, well, it's not really. It's just a product, Oi, I'm Irish. Potatoes and all that stuff. Yeah, right. Like, yeah, sure, we get it. The money, the shareholder money. It's ridiculous though. I can't stand it. I think it's just honestly terrible. But anyways, let's move on. Last headline for the day. Crash Bandicoot 5 was a thing, Devereaux.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was canceled in favor of live service games. According to a new report from gaming historian Liam Robertson, the game, which was in a very early stages of production, was canceled following what Activision considered as muted sales for Crash Bandicoot 4. Around the same time, it claimed Activision shot down pitches for other sequels to single-player titles, such as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The report claims that following Toys for Bob's work on the Spyro Reignited trilogy, the company conceptualized a multiplayer Crash title before deciding to take the work they had done on that multiplayer title and use it to build a new single-player entry in the Crash franchise. This would eventually lead to Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time.
Ty's coming at you in the chat.
What do you say? What? He never said there's no acting. He means there's literally 300 developers and actors make up like 10 of that. It doesn't matter. He says there's no acting in video games. He's wrong. He's just incorrect. That is a factually incorrect thing to say. It is a very uneducated thing to say. Acting like people like Nolan North and Troy Baker and all these other fucking actors who have entire careers simply doing video game fucking acting. You silly goof. You jamoke. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're saying. You just have the money. You're blinded by the shareholder money. He probably has shares in Amazon. That's what this is. I would love to see Ty's books. Ty, you need to reveal your books so we know exactly what we're working with here, because there's a lot of questionable biases going through it. Anyways, one supposed concept even saw Crash teaming up with Spyro, following an interdimensional threat to both worlds. According to the report, Crash and Spyro were intended to be two playable characters. That sounds great. I really hope I hope that the game that Toys for Bob is working on is this game with Crash and Spyro.
That would be awesome.
That would be so cool. Dev, sort me out apparently. He says, what's the context? What do you mean, what's the context? I read the context. What are we talking about? You want me to go back and reread the quote? Okay. I'll go back and reread the quote. It says, actually, I want to drink some water first, Devereaux. Go ahead, talk to Ty. I don't know.
I think having AI in video games moving forward, it's tricky. Not even just video game, in art, in period. It's very tricky right now. A lot of people are hurt by it. It does suck.
Ty says reread the quote, so we're going to reread the quote, ladies and gentlemen. I got to be careful with what I say here, because we are a big company and have to deal with all those organizations. So I don't really want to get in the middle of it, he replied.
That's fair.
Yeah, sure. Again, it's like you said, it sounds like I don't want to be racist, but kind of statement. But anyway, when we talk about AI, first of all, hopefully it will help us have new gameplay ideas. Okay, like if it helps create new game, okay, sure, great. Which has nothing to do with taking work away from anyone. I think that's factually correct. I think there could be an argument that like if AI is helping create new game modes, you have less designers making these new ideas for game modes, like. You know what I mean? Like, there's designers that work with the programmers to make the vision happen. I don't know that, but again, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. That's fine. And he says, and I quote, Devereaux, I'm reading this word for word right here, and especially for games, we don't really have acting. The majority of the team sits in programming. And that's not going to go away because that's all about innovation. If it takes something, it will really be the boring parts. What more? What's the context that I'm missing there? What did I miss? This guy sounds like a fucking like MAGA dude where it's just like, you just gotta read between the lines. He actually doesn't hate veterans. Like, what are you talking about? What is this guy actually talking about?
I will say, he's not lying there either. Like, it's definitely way more than 10. Ty said 10. There's way more people involved in hacking.
Way more than 10. You can literally look at a game's credits to see that.
The majority is programmers. You know what I mean?
This dude.
10% maybe.
Yeah, 10%. That's a lot of people,
It is a lot of people, but...
Again, like, whether they do it or not, like, you can't factually... Like, I remember when we were arguing, it would be like, jobs get eliminated all the time. Now all of a sudden it's like, that's not what he said. It's not eliminating jobs. Like, what are you talking about? You're moving the goalposts. You're being ridiculous. You Boom. What is he talking about? It's ridiculous. We're not going to be a live show anymore. We're just going to tape in a studio and just... I don't want it. This is ridiculous. A silly Irishman. Can't stand it. Just terrible. Anyways, that's it for the headlines. We're going to get into the game releases. The Game Informer Memorial game releases for the week of August 26th. Damn straight, how many actors? What are you going on about? What are you actually going on about? Like, you're just being ridiculous. You're just like, I can type in capital letters. What do we say? We're just making up words. Aardvark, banana peel, Detroit. What are we talking about here? This is ridiculous. I'm not even gonna talk to this guy anymore. It's done. I'm about to put him on timeout for 10 seconds.
Oh no, you don't have to do that.
No, it's fine. I'm doing it. I'm not gonna do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. I thought about it, but I won't do it. No. Anyways, this is the Game Informer Memorial game releases for the week of August 26th. Dev knows you're right. Is he right? Yeah, that voice actors aren't going to lose their jobs?
No, voice actors will.
It's just fact. I'm not arguing whether it's right or wrong. I'm just arguing, yes, they will. There are video game actors. This Amazon dude's there's no actors in video games, and that's just factually not true.
Honestly, I think even some programmers might lose it. It's that powerful of a tool.
Fuck you, Ty. That's it. It's done. Put it to bed.
But he's not. I mean, he's repeating what the guy said too. It is a small in terms of actors, 10% ish or whatever.
You just said 10%'s a lot. Now it's just oh no, it's not.
It is a lot, but you compare it to the other 90%, and it's that's not a lot. You know what I mean?
It's if I cut off one of your fingers, it's just it's not a lot. It's only 10% of your fingers. Well, I mean, you could do the math if you don't count thumbs as fingers.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, I get it.
It's not a lot, right? So what's the problem? You have a problem with it? No? Great.
No,
put the hand down. Go ahead.
I need my fingers.
It's only one. It's only 10% of your fingers.
This is rough.
Exactly. Again, I'm not even saying whether it's right or wrong to lose jobs, but it is you're just being completely asinine if you act like there are no actors in video games. What are we talking about here? It's just fucking absurd. Oh my God, I can't. I need Troy Baker to just randomly be on YouTube and just come in here and be what's this fucking loser in the chat? There are people who've made careers. Oh my God.
I get it. I think both of you have a point, but both of you, I think, are also Ty just said right now. Actors literally record for 17 hours, but what's that 17 hours compared to 5 years of game development?
Okay, well, I'll just take your pinky, because, what do you use your pinky
I'm just
for,
saying.
honestly?
I'm just saying.
I'm just going to take your pinky.
I use my pinky quite often.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No, as much as your pointer, or your middle finger, or your
ring
I'm
using. I need it. I use it for typing and stuff. I'm just saying it's
it's asinine to act just because it's a minor part of it, which I don't even know if it's I don't know how many there's a lot of actors in video games.
And it also depends on the game you're making. Some games use more actors than others. It's tricky.
This is asinine. I'm not even gonna. We got to get back on track here because we got to wrap up. This is the Game Informer for the third time. The Game Informer Memorial releases for the week of August 26th. Starting with today, World of Warcraft: The War Within comes to PC, the expansion. It'd be really cool if World of Warcraft, to celebrate, had a PC Game Pass or console port. I don't know. What am I talking about? Lord of the Rings return to Moria for Steam and Xbox Series consoles on August 27th. Emio, the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club comes to Switch on August 29th.
That's the gameplay I have, the B-roll I have up right now.
Oh, very nice. Visions of Mana comes to PC, PS4, 5, and Xbox Series X and S August 29th. Vampire Survivors comes out on PS4 and PS5 on August 29th.
That's a fun game.
Yeah. Star Wars Outlaws comes out on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles on August 30th. And Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered comes out on PC, PlayStation 4, 5, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S on August 31st. What's your pick of the week, Dev?
Is Emio the one that's rated M? Is that the horror rated M game from Nintendo?
So I don't know if it's actually being rated M, but it was that game that they were like teasing like the creepy game. I can tell you for sure. Give me 1 second.
Okay. If that, I mean, I think that's such a cool idea, and that's like that's my third pick.
It's rated M.
Okay, yeah, I think that's really cool for Nintendo to have a rated M game that's horror. I hope it does well. I don't know if it will. I think both of our games of the week are the same. But I would pick my second pick, which is Visions of Mana, because that game just looks cool. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty looking game. But my true game of the pick is probably your game of the pick as well, which is Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah. I'm going to go Star Wars Outlaws. I think that this is a really strong week for gaming, even though it's not, like, quantity-wise. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really strong week. I mean, obviously with the WoW expansion, Lord of the Rings, if you like that stuff. But I think MEO looks really promising. It's a game that I really want to try to pick up. I don't know if I'm going to get around to picking it up. I want it, though, but I don't know if I will. Visions of Mana, like you said, gorgeous game. A game that also really interests me.
I hope MEO does well, just so that we can get like more rated M games from Nintendo. I think that would be cool.
But I am going to go with Star Wars Outlaws. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I hear the reviews. I've been reading them. Seems like some people really enjoyed it though, and I'm hoping that I'm in that category more so than the people that didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But overall, like I'm just excited. And it's been a long time since it's got a really good Star Wars game, so I'm gonna kind of dive into that and hope for the best on that. And yeah, that's my pick of the week, and yeah, hopefully I have more to talk about next week. I need to get Octopath done. This week was such a shit show this past week because like I wanted to get it done. And I ended up playing 40 minutes of it. Like, I really kind of, like, hoped I was going to, like, really scrounge together and get, like, 20 hours in. And it just, like, didn't happen.
Did you play... You didn't play much gaming at all, I guess. You were just... Gotcha.
It was, like... Obviously, I did the podcast here on Monday. And then I worked a double on Tuesday. Wednesday, I have the game... Broken Tables podcast, which you should check out if you're a wrestling fan. And then... Thursday, I had stuff I had to do, like adult stuff, like chores.
Ty is just, he's not backing down at all.
I didn't lose an argument. I read the quote twice. I don't understand. This guy is such a clown. Can you make me a mod on the channel?
You are a mod.
Am I? For some reason, it's not letting me. I gotta be like on the. Hold on. Let's see.
No, we'll just end the show. You don't.
No, it's fine.
You don't have to do this.
It's not a big deal. It's really not. Like, I know time means well. We gotta put you in timeout, Ty. We're gonna put you in timeout for a minute. For 1 minute, 60 seconds.
Oh, man.
Look, Ty's gonna have to understand. Like, I don't understand how he could do... Like, Ty is disagreeing with me in the most absurd way. Because it's like... Say if I woke up and I was like, huh, Devereaux, that is a black hat that you're wearing. You know, obviously without the logo, but just the color of the hat around it is black. Mm-hmm. And he was like, it's not black, it's blue. It's green. It's a light green. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's making no sense. Nonsense. It's just strictly nonsense. Still living under the boot of the queen. Rest her soul. You know? I think Lizzie had a great idea keeping the,
Lizzie.
God rest the queen. God save the king. I think they were onto something. I think they were like these Irish jamokes. Like,
I think he's in the Discord now. Join our Discord, by the way.
Yeah, join our Discord. What's he doing? Where is he going? He's in the Discord? What's going on in there? Hold on. Let's see what's going on here.
I don't even know what that means, Ty.
Rome has no games? It's just literally incorrect.
Yeah.
What is he talking? Like, Devereaux, like, do we have to go in the other room? Devereaux, is he saying true things right now?
I think
Devereaux, do I have no games?
You have games.
Would you say I have a lot of games?
You have a whole room full of them.
Right. The whole podcast is because it's named after the room that is wall-to-wall games.
Yeah.
This guy has no idea what he's talking. You know what? I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna delete this in the Discord. Ugh. It's gone. He's been silenced for being a troll. He's trolling right now. It's nonsense. This is crazy. I go on his podcast. I'm respectful of this man's time. I go on his show. I'm very cordial. He's like, oh my God, Rome. He comes to me on Sunday. He's like, Rome, The guy who was going to have on my show backed out at the last minute. Can you save my show, please? And me, I was trying to play Octopath, but I was like, you know what? I'm a good friend. I'm a good guy. I did it. I went on his podcast, talked games for an hour and 40 minutes. I was like, you know what? Because that's who I am. I try to go out of my way to help fellow creators on this platform. End the show in defeat. You know what? That's it. Enough.
Great.
Enough. You know what? You're getting put in timeout for 10 minutes this time.
We won't be live in 10 minutes.
I tried so hard to help this guy.
He got a last word in before you got the boot.
I didn't even see it, so it doesn't matter. He's just ungrateful. He's an ungrateful Irishman. It sucks. I really hated that the show had to end this way. We had such a good show, and it's just it's sad. It's sad to see, because like Ty is someone who I don't agree on everything with Ty, but at the end of the day, I thought there was like a level of respect there, and it really hurts. It really hurts.
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Is there anything you want to say?
No, not at all.
You sure? Well, this has been the Game Room Podcast. Thanks for coming. That's all I got.
See you next week. Join the Discord.
Join the Discord.
Down below.
It's there. Ty really kind of took this off the rails.